Everyone under the sound of my voice right now has an identity. And your identity is being either shaped by design or by default. And whatever you deem as your personal identity, I want to tell you right now that almost everything else in your life follows how you see yourself. So like if you think yourself to be a victim, it's going to affect the way that you think. If you see yourself as a winner or a victor, it affects the way that you think. And so whatever you deem as your identity, it affects your mental architecture. Your mental real estate follows your identity. Your self-worth or lack thereof follows your identity. Your values or lack thereof follow your identity. There's some things I already say no to before the temptation comes because of my identity. Your interpersonal relationships and how you see other human beings and how you deal with other human beings, it follows your identity. Your decision making, how you handle your finances, how you handle your spouse, your kids, all of your decision making, it follows what you think about yourself. It follows your identity. Listen to me carefully what I'm about to say. In the world and outside the kingdom, you can choose whatever identity you want. But inside the kingdom of God, your identity has already been chosen for you. And then the only question about the identity that's been chosen for you is whether or not you're gonna fully embrace it and continue to embrace it. So Jesus does this teaching about kingdom character, then he pivots from that and said, let me tell you your identity in the kingdom. You can't choose it, I already gave it to you. You are the salt of the earth, is what he said. Now, when I said that, nobody in this room got excited. Because when you hear salt, you think something in a jar sitting on the table at Longhorns. But in the context in which the words were written, salt was one of the most valuable commodities in the earth during the first century. It was almost as valuable as like money. And so there were multiple reasons that people would use salt. I'm gonna give you a couple just for example. Salt was so valuable, it would be used for wages. Like you go to work and instead of paying you coins, they will pay you salt. So a lot of the Roman soldiers was paid in salt. Their wages was salt because it was that valuable. Another use for salt in the first century was for seasoning. Seasoning. They had a lot of bland food. No Lowry's, no Texas Pete, no A1. So salt was almost necessary for every single meal. Every piece of fish, everything they did, they had to put salt to make food taste better. Like Jesus is saying, you're the seasoning of the earth. And Christianity is supposed to make things taste better in the earth. Our values are supposed to make things better, taste better. You make the job better. You make the family better. I'm gonna season you on your family reunion and make the family reunion better. When they start fighting and pulling out guns and dice, you become the peacemaker at the family reunion. So you season the family reunion. But that wasn't the number one use of salt in the first century AD. The number one use of salt in the first century AD, when they had no refrigerators, they would pack it into bland food to keep food from decaying. He is already telling you that the world that you are living in, the earth, it is decaying. Society is decaying. Morals are decaying. Value, I feel it to my spirit. They are decaying. No. Marriages are decaying. Values are decaying. Morality is decaying. Goodness is decaying. Honor is decaying. Doing right is decaying. And what Jesus is saying to his children, I'm trying to pack you into the earth like salt. And what I expect my followers to do is to keep back decay. Don't let the family decay. Don't let marriages or the definition of marriage decay. Don't let how we feel about children in the womb decay. Don't let how we do church decay. Don't let godly values and godly standards and godly priorities, don't let these things decay. Wherever I pack you into that state, city, or nation, man, keep back decay. And when salt hit food, you can't see it. So this part of your identity ain't talking about all that stuff you do on social media. He ain't talking about your preaching, you're posting a microphone or song. He's talking about the way you move and live amongst people. Keep back decay on the low. It's the way you live and move in such a way that without a post, I'm keeping back decay. So that's me fighting to be a good husband with no posts, and fighting to be a good father with no posts, and trying to be a real man of God with no posts. So Jesus looking out on the crowds, everybody look right at me. He's looking out over the crowds, over this bland pile of humanity, food with no taste. He sees the brokenness of humanity, and his answer is not just pray for them. His answer is, I'm gonna season y'all with my children. I see a married couple in trouble. I'm not in the ear of the wife saying, man, you blah, 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 and da, 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 da. No, you should probably love your husband and be submitted to him and pray for him and be patient. No, dude, you should probably be patient with your wife and kind. Like, I'm trying to keep back decay. When I go into the booth to vote, I'm trying to keep back decay. I'm not just pulling a lever for blue just because I'm black. Who represents the values of the kingdom? I pull the lever to keep back decay. See, if your identity is Democrat, that's the way you vote. If your identity is kingdom, you vote according to the kingdom, not Republican or Democrat. Who best represents the values of the kingdom? You keep attaching all these other things to your identity first. That's why you don't know who you are. So when you walk in a room, you don't know who you are. And when you go in a booth, you don't know who you are. And when you're in a conversation, you don't know who you are. And when you're in a gym, you don't know who you are. And when you're in a Zoom, you don't know who you are. You forgot that you are the salt of the earth. That God has packed you into every sphere of influence to keep back decay. Wherever you walk into, part of your identity is wherever sphere of influence I'm in, I'm called to keep back decay. So why are you quiet when they're trying to redefine marriage? And why you won't pray for the sister when she's about to walk out of her marriage? And why when you see feminists trying to emasculate men, why you don't say nothing about that? Why you liking posts when men are being torn down by women when you're supposed to be holding back decay? You see, the reason you act like that is because you don't know your identity. I already know from your posts and your behavior that you don't know your identity. Your identity is black woman, not salt. Your identity is fill in the blank. Whatever you identify with first, black woman, black man. So you anti-white people when you're supposed to be the salt of the earth? What kind of foolishness is that? But in Ephesians, he told us he's destroyed the dividing line between Jew and Gentile, but you so pro-black that you hate white people, or you so pro-white that you hate black people. Your identity is not black or white or your Greek letters or your Democrat or Republican. Your identity is you are the salt of the earth. Fight to preserve the values, the teachings, the ways of the king and the kingdom first. Seek first the kingdom. But if the salt lost its taste, how shall it be salted? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under the feet of men. So Jesus lived during a time when salt could lose its saltiness. And there was only one condition in the first century that would cause salt primarily to lose its saltiness. They would harvest salt from the Dead Sea. I've been there. And if any impure substances got on that salt, if anything impure, other chemicals got in the salt would lose its saltiness. When that happened, they could not pack it into food because they had no refrigerators. They would take the salt and throw it out their windows on the street, and it would just get trampled. It would be no good for anything. Let me repeat to you. The only way for salt to lose its saltiness is to pack it with impurities. In the same way, when impurities get in our lives, we can lose our saltiness. I'm just throwing out some examples. Compromise is a chemical that causes you to lose your saltiness. You say, well, I don't understand that. First, let me explain to you what saltiness is. Saltiness is influence. And if you have compromise in your life, you lose your saltiness. You will not have positive influence when your life is full of compromise. Hypocrisy is an impurity that causes you to lose your saltiness. If there's no congruency between your words and your actions, that is an impurity that causes you to lose influence. If you say one thing, sing one thing, preach one thing, and live another, and people find out, you lose influence. That's how you lose your saltiness. Like, you good on the platform, but when I got near you, I saw you was nothing like the song you was singing. You was nothing like the sermon you was preaching. You're nothing like the person I met on Instagram. Yo, there's a lot of Insta-sham. There's a lot of people on Insta-sham. Y'all love and laud and celebrate, but if you got close to them, you would not want their life. You want their following, but you don't want their life. You want their following, you don't want their life. And I'm telling you, when you are a hypocrite, when there's no congruency between your words and your actions, and people find out, oh, you a Christian? But this is the way you live? They won't say nothing, but you lose influence. You lose your ability to be salty. Another impurity, indifference. When you just don't care. Don't care who the next president is. Don't care if they rewrite marriage. Don't care if they make abortion legal again. Don't care. I don't give a darn. I don't care. It ain't affecting my house. When you talk like that, you lose influence. Don't nobody gonna have no influence for real with the Christian church when you don't care, when you're full of indifference. If you try to compromise your Christian values to fit in somewhere, you'll be rejected by the church and rejected by that group. Both people will reject you. After a while, the group you compromise to be in, they're gonna reject you anyway. But if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? Next verse. It is of no use either for the soil, the kingdom, or for the manure pile, the world. You are, Jesus said, the light of the world. A city set on a hill, somebody walk in that back door, it cannot be hidden. Only your own compromise, your own fear, you being a coward in the times we're living in will keep you from being hit. That's the only thing that'll put a bowl over you. Your compromise, your fear. You're so terrified of standing for Christ.